All right, check it out. Donald Trump effed around, and he is about to find out. Democrats are hatching a plan to punch back and thwart the Republican plan to rig the midterms by redistricting right before the midterm election takes place, therefore giving Republicans multiple new seats in red states. Well, Democratic governors like Gavin Newsom are bringing the fight directly to Republicans, and there's a lot to break down. Let's just start here. Governor Newsom posted not long ago a meme that says, "Game on." He's one of the leading Democratic governors that is, spearheading this movement to punch back against Trump, and he has been for the past 6 months, really emerging as a strong leader in the Democratic Party, and he knows how to meme as well. So let me play this 5-second clip.
See, as you can see, the more you fuck around, the more you're going to find out.
F around and find out. The article that appears reads, Trump's Texas gerrymander is supercharging a new war on democracy. I want to play for you this clip of Governor Gavin Newsom on Friday night talking about his plan, talking about how Democrats can punch back. But just to lay the groundwork, I think norms in a democracy work a lot like consent. When it comes to consent, you need two parties engaging, or you're not engaged in meaningful consent. You can't have one party engaged and one party not. That's not how consent works. In the same way, norms work. You need both parties abiding by the norms in a democracy. If one party is not abiding by the norms in a meaningful way, you don't have any norms anymore. The rules are out the window. Democrats have been trying to abide by the rules. We go high, they go low. But I say we match their energy over and over. Let's match their energy. That's why I really like Governor Gavin Newsom lately. I mean, really quickly, check out this clip of him roasting Governor DeSantis in their debates.
I'm going to answer your question. I support border security. I think the asylum system is broken. I believe that we need...
I understand that.
I'm the only guy here that's a border state governor. You're trolling folks and trying to find migrants to play political games to try to get some news and attention so you can out-Trump Trump. And by the way, how's that going for you, Ron? You're down 41 points.
How's that going for you? I was naive to think that Ron DeSantis was ever going to be a leader in the Republican Party. I mean, maybe in Florida, but man, his attempt at a national campaign fizzled out very quickly. Let's continue by watching this clip of Governor Newsom detailing the fight that's about to take place.
I've said this many times. I think there's a growing recognition in this country, not just with Democrats, independents, but also Republicans, that de facto the Trump presidency ends in November of next year if the American people are given a fair chance and a voice and a choice. We will take back Congress. The President of the United States recognizes that, so he wants to rig the game. Wants to change the rules midterm. They're very effective at this. They've done this in the past. They've got a lot of experience doing this. He dials up Greg Abbott, says, I need 5. Instead of 12,000 votes in Georgia, I need 5 House seats. He obliges. And they're doing a midterm rejection of objectivity and independence. An act that we could criticize from the sideline, or an act that we can respond to in kind, fight fire with fire in the spirit that brings us here together today.
Fight fire with fire. That's all you can do. It reminds me of this tweet that reads, the last decade has been Democrats clinging on to the rule book going, but a dog can't play basketball, while a dog effing dunks on us over and over again. I mean, this is just too true. Obviously, I align with a lot of the core values of the Democratic Party, but when the Democratic Party is refusing to punch back in a satisfying way, it's a little bit grim. Now we have some of the best political knife fighters rising to the top. And I say political knife fighters because that's the best way to describe some of these people. Like Representative Jasmine Crockett, amazing fighter. Gavin Newsom, amazing political fighter. Senator Chris Murphy is absolutely amazing. Of course, Pete Buttigieg is great. I'm sure I'm missing a bunch of names, but you guys get where I'm going. To continue, here is Newsom floating the idea. This is the idea of how he's going to punch back. Floating the idea of a special election for his anti-Trump redistricting push. The governor has vigorously embraced the party's push to counter a GOP-friendly Texas gerrymander by buoying Democrats in blue states. Yeah, you should very enthusiastically and viciously push this forward. We cannot have another decade of Republicans just drowning out any norms that have ever existed while Democrats sit there too scared. If Governor Newsom didn't exist, I don't know if we would have an effective resistance beyond what we do in the media right now. I mean, we would. Representative Crockett is great. Chris Murphy is great. All these people are great. But I mean, on a state level, Governor Newsom seems to be leading the way. Let's watch this clip of him on Pod Save. By the way, if you've made it this far in the video and you want to help boost the message, all I ask is that you drop a like. Make sure you're subscribed to the Adam Mockler feed below. Check this out.
Should be a national framework for independent redistricting, period, full stop. I mean, gerrymandering, and let's be fair, we've seen this weaponized by both parties for decades. But these guys, this is a whole nother level of weaponization coming from the right. And what Trump did today is the ultimate tell. They feel they're on the ropes. They feel they're behind. They feel they're vulnerable with the big, beautiful bill. They feel like the momentum is shifting away from them, and it's Speaker Jeffries. It's not Speaker Johnson. So on that basis, they got to rig the game. You got to change the game because you can't win by the existing rules. So he goes in and talks to these guys that should be focused on flood preparedness, should be focused on restoring NOAA and the weather investments that they need to make and the resiliency efforts, to talk about getting FEMA back on track and how little accountability with Kristi Noem and some of those early decisions that were made or not made. Instead, they're using that special session to weaponize for the next election. And that should scare the hell out of everybody, because these guys are playing by a different set of rules. And so from my perspective, if we're going to play fair in a world that is wholly unfair, we may have the higher moral ground, but the ground is shifting from underneath us. And I think we have to wake up to that reality. And I'm talking to members of my legislature, whatever our alternatives. We can do a special session. I can call for one today if I chose to. We can then put something on the ballot, and I could call a special election. We can change the Constitution with the consent of the voters, and I think we would win that. I think people understand what's at stake in California. I think we'd come out in record numbers. I think it would be extraordinary success. That's a clean way of doing it. It'd be a very short window, because you got to come back with the maps, and you got to change all this and prepare for the ballots that are around the corner next year. Or you can look at other avenues, which we are exploring, which are pathways with the legislature to do urgency clauses with 2/3 of the legislature in both of our houses, to move forward with legislative redistricting in between the constitutional construct, which is every census, the Independent Redistricting Commission does a new map, but it's silent about what happens in between. So it's a novel legal question, and it's being explored.
I have a quick question for you all. Let me know in the comment section. Do you support this? Yes or no? Do you support Gavin Newsom punching back in this way? I'm going to guess a lot of you say yes. Governor Gavin Newsom said Thursday he will seek to call a November special election to have voters approve new House maps that boost Democrats. By embracing a public vote, Newsom teed up a nationalized contest that opens a prominent front in national Democrats' efforts to thwart Donald Trump's agenda. I don't want to hear a single Republican whining or crying about this when Republicans are the ones who set this new standard. Newsom had a really good line where he was like, listen, you'll have the moral high ground, but when the ground is shifting under our feet, what does that even mean at this point? Again, one side can't be engaging in the norms while the other side isn't. Quote, I'm not going to sit back any longer in the fetal position, a position of weakness, when in fact California can demonstrably advance strength, Newsom said at an unrelated news conference. I mean, very well said. It would be an enormously expensive and politically perilous campaign. Newsom would be counting on Democrats' anti-Trump message overcoming voters' reluctance to return power to politicians for an explicitly partisan exercise. Newsom and his allies would need to raise monumental sums on a tight timeline so they could inform and turn out voters. And while they could tap into a national network, Trump and conservative opponents could be motivated to wade into the race to rebuke Newsom and the National Party. But you have to fight. There are risks involved, but there are risks involved in not fighting as well, like Republicans getting a second term in Congress, which would be absolutely devastating for the country and for the people of this country and for our allies and anybody who ever benefited from USAID or any of these other places that have been just completely shuttered. Sacramento would likely draw new maps in coordination with California's House delegation. Let me also point out that even the threat of this gives Newsom leverage. Even the threat of this gives Newsom cards that he can deal and be like, listen, if you don't, I won't. We needed somebody to lead, and I will say I think Newsom is doing a great job. I've really begun to appreciate his political skills, mainly as Trump has attacked, and Democrats, and it's been a while since Democrats have had a strong front man or front woman, front person, whatever you want to say, and Governor Newsom is really stepping up to the plate. So I'm going to leave it there. If you appreciate the videos we make sure you drop a like and subscribe. A quick note, I'm traveling a bit this weekend. So if you want to help keep things flowing while we're traveling, make sure you share the video. Make sure you have notifications on below. You can join the subreddit to keep the community going. I love you all, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.